in recruiting retired generals to lead military coup against President Trump. President Trump cannot raise his head from problems. Now the deep state are recruiting retired military generals in order to spearhead a coup d'état against the Trump administration. According to radio host Rush Limbaugh, ex-military leaders and D.C. swamp dwellers are secretly organizing a revolution against Trump. Oddnews.com reports, during a segment covering ex-CIA head John Brennan's statements at the Aspen Security Forum, in which Brennan called upon members of the executive branch to effectively execute a coup if Trump fires compromised special investigator Robert Mueller, Limbaugh offered the opinion that the D.C. establishment has abandoned virtually all rationality and respect for the democratic process due to an overwhelming hatred of the outsider president and could be prepared to take extreme measures to ensure he is removed from office. A coup is moving in there and ridding the government of the guy. A coup is moving in there and taking the guy out. That's why many coups occur with the military. You need force behind it, prefaced Limbaugh. I will openly state, I am just speculating using intelligence guided by experience. These people are so far gone over what's happened here to their precious town, to their precious power base, to their precious control of things, that I wouldn't doubt if a couple of them are making phone calls to retired generals who still get up and put the uniform on every day, and soliciting their assistance, should it even become necessary, to lead a rebellion. I have no evidence of it. But clearly there is an uncontrolled rage and irrationality in the anti-Trump forces on the left. I think these people are so unhinged now, that in their minds whatever it takes, man, he continued. The takeaway here is that a former CIA director is essentially asking for a coup against the sitting president if the sitting president fires the special counsel, which he is entirely, constitutionally, entitled to do. During a panel discussion at a globalist confab last week with CNN's Wolf Blitzer and former Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, Brennan addressed the matter of Trump firing Mueller. I think it's the obligation of some executive branch officials to refuse to carry that out, said Brennan. I would just hope that this is not going to be a partisan issue, that Republicans, Democrats are going to see that the future of this government is at stake and something needs to be done for the good of the future. If Mueller is fired, I hope our elected reps will stand up and say enough is enough. This is not the first time Brennan has expressed support for a radical movement aimed at undermining the United States government. At his first polygraph test to enter the CIA, the future director had a secret, reads a CNN report from 2016. John Brennan recalled being asked a standard question for a top security clearance at his early CIA lie detector test. Have you ever worked with or for a group that was dedicated to overthrowing the U.S.? I froze, Brennan said. This was back in 1980, and I thought back to a previous election where I voted, and I voted for the Communist Party candidate. InfoWars recently reported on statements made by a prominent evangelical pastor who warned that a plot to remove Trump suddenly from office had been confided in him by a ranking member of Congress. The congressman said there is a plot on Capitol Hill to take the president out, relayed Pastor Rodney Howard-Browne. I said, you mean by impeachment or by indictment? He said, no, to take him out. He will be removed suddenly from office.